What's up, y'all? It's dS.TheInformed here. In light of MLK Day just passing and everything, I was home sitting back and I was really thinking, really trying to configure everything that went on and everything that happened to kind of bring about, the man, this great individual of sorts, to have a day. And I started thinking about what MLK stood for, what the civil rights movement was about, and how pretty much the 100-year period from the end of slavery of 1865 to 1965, and very notable years in Black history, especially Black history here in the Americas. And I really started thinking about what we stood for, what it was to them, and how it's effective of us now, and how it's effective and what it means to us now. What's really been on my mind is the fact that not much has changed. A lot of people would like to say we've made notable advancements as a people. A lot of people would like to say we've made a lot of leadway and a lot of headway over the past few years. But personally, I pretty much see a stagnant group of people. And it's really based on the idea of equality versus inclusion. Now, to better make my point, I just want people to consider, as you listen to this, really consider the fact of there was a court case that stated separate but equal was possible, and then there was another court case that said separate but equal wasn't possible. Well, I personally can agree with the original standing that separate but equal is possible, because in order for two things to be equal, they have to be exactly that, equal, the same. It has to be the same treatment, a fair treatment, a fair giving. So if you build a school, that means you build the school with the same contractors who give the same amount of attention to one school as they do the other. The materials are the same. The layout, more or less the same, doesn't have to be, but it can be, just to make sure that there's the same amount of room given to each individual space, such as classrooms, cafeterias, or gyms. So, not one gym is this big and another gym is that big. And I mean, I'm going to an extremes here based, just based on simple measurements, but still, as an entity in itself. If you have a store, then the store on my side or in my neighborhood should be the same as your store. It doesn't have to be exact, but to be equal, it has to be fair. The problem with separate but equal was the fact that it wasn't given the same way. So it would say, oh, we have a school, you have a school, that's equal. No. Your school retains way more money. Your school retains far more attention and is given the better of the things. Just because you have a school and I have a school doesn't make them equal. A mansion is not equal to a no bedroom, and by that I mean like an open space, just one room apartment with the bathroom and the kitchen being kind of the only offsets of the apartment. That's not equality. Now, so my thing was, we were so bent as a people on having what the white man had, that being told we couldn't have it, being told we weren't good enough, we didn't qualify more or less for it, we didn't have the rate, we weren't rated properly to have these things. We fought hard to gain inclusion into what they had. We didn't fight for equality. You can be equal and not be included. And that's the thing, that if you notice, that's what we got. We have inclusion in society. We don't have equality. Down to this very day, African American people, as we're labeled, we are not equal. We have never been equal as far as society and social standards stand. In my personal opinion, we are. We're just as good as, if not better, in other areas than anybody. But that's not the case here. We're talking about social standings. And based on social standings, we are not equal. Far from it. As a matter of fact, again, as I stated earlier in the video when I first spoke, is the fact that I think we have gone backwards, if not stood in the same position that we always had. Things just seem to be striding in a forward position because we are now making inclusions. We're making strides into our inclusion, into the society which we were not allowed to be in. So because we can join a few country clubs and play golf with them, we're making strides. Because we can live in their neighborhoods, we're making strides. Because we have individuals going to their schools and making advances in their sciences and their technologies, we're making great strides of forward progress. To me, that's not forward progress. Excuse me. That's inclusion. Because prior to desegregation, integration, we had doctors. That's equality. There was a time when going to a black school, you couldn't get anything more than a bachelor's degree. That's not equal. Just because I have a college is not equal. Me having a science program or a doctorate program, a PhD program that is competitive against that of the white schools, that's equality. Duke University is one of the best universities when it comes to medicine, especially here in North Carolina, period. I'm from North Carolina. And Shaw University, for instance, just to use a black school, is what you would consider to be a HBCU at Shaw. That school should have just as much in their PhD program to provide for it as Duke does to make an equal standing. There shouldn't have to be where I have to leave a black school or a black institution and go to a white school or a white institution in order for me to gain. Because then it's not equal. Because if it was equal, I wouldn't have to. Now, admittedly, all of them might not be equal, just like not all white schools are going to be Duke. But we, as a people, should have our own schools that allow us to gain just as much as anybody else without having to be included into someone else's. Now, in light of MLK, one of the things that he said that really stuck out to me was very important to me, because he felt at one point that he was integrating his people into a burning house. And to me, he was correct. What he was doing was trying to include us into something that not only didn't want us, but didn't work for us. If you look at the progression of our people, it is still stagnant in a sense, if you get what I'm saying. Because if you think about it, imagine it as a truck. Let's say a truck. I'm throwing out a metaphor. I speak in metaphors a lot. You have a truck, and then you have a 10-mile long rope, and then you have a trailer connected to it, or a 10-mile long something system to pull this trailer. So at the starting line, there's the truck. 10 miles behind that is the trailer. As a system, black people are on this trailer. White people are driving the truck. So as they progress forward, we move forward as well. Mind you, we're still behind. Just because we ultimately get to where they once were, still behind. Now let's say we shorten the cord. We're shortening this cord. So ultimately we get to a point where we are now sitting directly behind the truck, like a drone trailer just right there connected to the hitch at the back of the truck. Mind you, we're still behind. We're inclusive in their progress. As they move forward, we move forward. So again, we make strides. But that's inclusion. Equality would be us having our own truck to drive directly beside them. That's equality. Your truck, my truck. They're both Dodge Rams, 2000, both factory made, 2014s, fresh off the thing. That's equality. Inclusion is being able to follow with them and just lead as they lead. They go, we go. As a people, I personally do not believe we have made such great advances that we should be comfortable. That we as a people should be able to sit back, relax, and think things are okay. I read a post just recently, someone saying that, of course, people of privilege would say that the world doesn't owe us, and not just us as black people, but us as people. The world doesn't owe us anything. And it responds, of course not, because the world was given to them. In response to that, and also to close up this, it comes a thing where the world doesn't owe me as a young male, and more specifically a young black male, a young male of African descent. The world doesn't owe me anything. The fact of the matter is, I want the world out of my way when I try to reach it. The thing here is the fact that no, it doesn't owe me. I don't want to be given anything. I want to own it and earn it on my own. The fact is, at the same time of not owing me, they're putting up plenty of blockades and hurdles and obstacles for me to have to go over and around and about and through in order to gain, when it's not doing that for other individuals. So, to say it this way and to say it simply, I don't feel like I'm entitled. I just want to be able to say that what I've done, the work that I've done, the progress that I've made has been on my own. I don't want to be given anything. I don't want a handout. I don't want to be privileged, but I also don't want any hindership. You see? And I think that's the thing here. Ultimately, as I said before, we never fought for equality. We've never fought for equality. Even to this day, the elders who lead on the continuous revolution from the 60s, who are continuously following the path of those who were there then, we have not had any set of equality to be fought for. We have only continued to fight for inclusion. Now, I hope that with this, if somebody hears this, you're able to agree with me and understand my point of view of this and recognize where I'm coming from. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment in the box. I would love to, I'll respond back. I would love to have a chat with anybody. You know, we can video, whatever the case may be. Because now I'm at a point where I'm realizing that I don't want to be included. I want to be equal. Just as they were allowed to make their strides, I want to be allowed to make mine. Hard work and dedication, that's fine. No problem. Anyways, you all have a good night or a good day whenever you're seeing this. Hope you all have a blessed life. I'm dS.TheInformed. Peace.